Another week, another game on a Wednesday for you.
Absolutely, yeah. It's they've come thick and fast, haven't they? This is our last full week of midweeks, and we've come through it. We've had our problems as everybody else has, really, but it's been very, very difficult for everybody concerned. You know, me included, really. The travelling, the rest, the training, the intensity. It's such a hard league as well. So there's no easy games as such. So it's been hell of a. And now we've got two more before we got a week off. So I think Luton and Birmingham are. Once they're out of the way, we can just relax for a couple of days before we look at the Christmas schedule.
So have you been, counting down the days until you can get that respite?
Yeah, we were hoping that there's three or four players. We've lost Johnny House, and he was one of them. We thought three or four players are going to be really fatigued and close to being in. We lost Dick Steele. Then we lost Johnny House, and then we've got Paddy and Dale, really, who were right at the top of their, the minutes. We can't do it out, really, but those two are the two that are more vulnerable than anybody else at the minute.
So, with regards to Johnny Howson, how is he looking for this weekend's game?
No, he's out for a few weeks. I don't know. We don't really know. We've got different interpretations of his scan, so we don't really know if I'm honest at the moment. It could be more serious than we think, but with his age and the scans, if I scanned you tomorrow, even though you're not got a hamstring, a young man, you wouldn't have much trouble. If you scanned me, having done all what I've done, you'd always find something. And so I think when you're older, you find things sometimes that are nothing to do with the injury. So we're hoping that we get Johnny back in the next few weeks, really.
With regards to Luton Town, then they've made a good go of this championship campaign so far.
Yeah.
What have you made of them so far, then?
Yeah, they have. I saw them lose quite heavily at Cardiff, which they weren't very good. And then last Saturday, you watched the game last Saturday. I mean, we're playing against a team who won 3-0 on Saturday against Preston, battered them. Who battered us 3-0 a few days before. So you make of it what you can, really.
The next following 6 games, I think all teams from the bottom half of the table. Does that present a little bit more of an opportunity for yourself then?
I don't think so, really. No, I mean I've been in this league a long time, and I don't think you can look at games and think, yes, all right, your top teams, but even your top teams, I don't worry about the top teams that we've played, if I'm honest. I think we've done well against them. So you've just got to keep going, and whatever comes up, it's going to be difficult. It's all about trying to get points on board at this stage.
I just wanted to ask you about Marcus Tavernier as well. He got on the score sheet at the weekend, 21 years of age, and he's now in on 100 appearances so far for Boro. How much do you rate him as a player then?
Yeah, he's done really, really well since I've been here. Bags of energy. I'm trying to get him to have less touches, if I'm honest. He has an extra touch when he doesn't need one. Like all young lads that have got ability, Jed Spence the same. They all think they've got to have another touch, and it looks good. So we're trying to get him to have a less touches, and I think on Saturday probably as good as he's done really in that respect, because he can move the ball quicker. He's got a good shot on him, and and he rubs off on everybody when he's on his game because he's such a bubbly character on the pitch.
Duncan Watmore, then, of course, another man who made a great impact at the weekend. You told the press that you've offered him a contract. Have you heard anything since?
Yeah, I spoke to him a couple of days. I told him not to worry at Preston before the game at Preston. I said, don't worry about how you play. There'll be a contract for you now, son. And he was pleased. But we've been so busy. It's all right, trying to get things done. I saw him briefly yesterday. And no doubt we'll be speaking to his agents in the next few days.
You mentioned to us just before this press conference started about your book that you've been specially signing. Is this a nice little stocking filler then for Boro fans?
I think so. There's only about 150 left, I think, and I've just thought I'd sign them. And it's a good read. I enjoyed. I haven't read it since I wrote it. It's my autobiography, so it's 10 years old. But I just thought we've done something for Butterwick with my manager of the month award, hospice. So we did that, raised 12 grand for that. And I thought whatever we get for the book, we'll put towards the Teesside charity as well, the hospice. So Joe in the shop said, "Oh, they'll go," because everybody wants to read, don't they? In this flaming pandemic, they want to read and look at videos and things. So hopefully, it'll give one or two, especially the older members. They'll look at my book and read my book, and they'll remember what I'm talking about. So it'll be good for some of the lads. Yeah. So I've just been signing them. So I thought if I sign them all, it's a little bit more personal.
Which ones of the players are going to get signed copies? Do you think?
Just Dick Steele. That's all. He's when he comes, I'll give it him on when he comes round for his dinner on Christmas Day.
Speaking of Anthony Dyke-Steele, back into the side, and a lot of people who got in touch with us on BBC Radio T Sport spoke about the difference he made, and again, it's just he's just proven to be a shining example at this moment in time.
He is. I think it's Hibbert. He's playing really well, but I think it's just that when they're together, that back four, they are as good as anything, and they know they are, and they love to play with each other. Bowler and Dick Steele alongside Dale and Paddy. It's a great mix, really. And another challenge now coming up tomorrow, because the strike force at Luton, very, very effective. Colin scored a hat-trick last weekend, so it'll be a good test for us.
Before we know it as well, Neil, I know you're just concentrating on games at this moment in time, but we'll be in the January transfer window in the blink of an eye. Have you sort of started to narrow down targets, come up with a list of players, the ones that you want?
Yeah, we're down the process as everybody is. I want to try and get them in as early as I can, not at the last minute again. It's we are short. We just need a little bit of help, and so we've talked to 2 or 3 already. I had a chat with a lad yesterday as well. We're all looking at what we can and what we can't do, and the sooner we get them in, the better, really. Because, like I say, you saw our substitutes bench. It's really thin on the ground at the minute.
The government are in talks this week, of course, about the changes to tiers and the restrictions and what that'll have on areas, especially like Teesside. And you spoke about the importance of having fans in over the festive period. But, for you personally, how much are you craving that moment to, step out onto the touchline and be in front of Boro fans?
Well, I think every manager, I mean, in particular myself, I've always thought of myself as a fans manager, if I'm honest. I think it's true to say that a lot of people say they've never wanted me at their club because they don't like me. But when I'm at the club, they think I'm all right. So it's quite a backhand compliment, and I do love it. I love talking to the fans away from the ground and at the ground, and it's great to it gives something back in the weekends. At the moment, it's such a depressing thing, this pandemic, that everybody wants to get involved. So the club, their own club, the fans have supported. The chap who won my Manager of the Month award, he's been a season ticket since '95, season ticket holder, and he bought his first ticket when the Brazilians come. Is it Johnino or whatever?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. That's right. Yeah.
So and then he was a supporter 20 years before that. It was great talking to him on the phone. I think he was gobsmacked when I rang him, but it was nice to. Those are the type of people that you want to talk to when you like me.
Yeah, you noticed, of course, I'm sure other people noticed as well, you were on the 12th Man podcast and you seem to enjoy your chat there. Again, just building that relationship with fans.
Yeah, I'm doing another one next Monday, I think, with the fans forum as well. I try and do as many as I can that fit in with, we've had such a hectic period, I haven't been able to do anything. But next week we've got a blank week, so I told the club that I'd do a fans forum next week on probably Monday night, I think it is, and it's always good to get their questions. All the fans they're all experts, aren't they? They all know more than me, so it's good to talk to them really and see their opinions.
Just finally for me, Neil, the table's starting to take a little bit more shape, and you're still in and around those playoffs. with the game in mind against Luton tomorrow, they only sit a point behind you. So does that ramp up the importance of this game a little bit more?
Not really. No more than any other game. 3 points for a win. You only need 3 or 4 wins, and you're back up there, or you're down below. It's such a the league is such relentless that you've just got to try and get a win, and if you can't get a win, try and come out with a point and move on to the next one. It's you've no time to worry about it nowadays. So I just hope we can play with the same energy that we had at the weekend. They came back really well after two brutal away defeats, and I was really pleased with them. So if we can get something on board, we know how difficult it'll be because they are a free-flowing side, and they've nothing. They're great. I think they said it was the best result since he's been back at the club, Nathan, on Saturday against Preston. So they'll be buzzing.
Great stuff, Neil. Thank you for your time, and good luck.
Cheers, Matthew. Make sure you get a book, Matthew, won't you?
Yeah, of course, mate.
If you bring it to me, I'll put your name on it. If you want it, itemising.
Oh, thank you very much. I'll do that. Thank you.
Cheers, Matty. Keith.
Hi, Neil. Sorry, I missed the very start there. Where did you say you found those books about?
Sorry, say it again, Keith.
I missed the very start. Where did you find the books?
At the back of the I've got a stable type thing, which is like a garage type at home, and we were just clearing it out a few weeks ago. We were looking for something else, and we found these 4 boxes of books. Well, I didn't know they were there. I mean, we must have had them obviously since they came through 10 years ago, and when we opened them, I wasn't sure if I did another book later on called The Gaffer, and I thought it might have been those, but it wasn't. It was my original autobiography, and so I thought, well. I think I said to Joe at the shop, if you want, I'll sign them, and whatever we get, I don't want any money for them, so whatever we get, we'll give it to Teesside Hospice. And so I've signed them all over the last few days. I've got cramp, Keith, now with them, and my OCK is a little bit funny on some of them because you can't, you know what it's like, you can't, can you? At the end.
I know we're laughing about it, but and I know it's funny, but it's also nice this time of year as well. I think, given what we've all been through the past sort of 9 or 10 months, you kind of have to be creative to think of different ways to help people, I suppose.
You do, I think so, especially up here. I mean, the football club up here is the mainstay for a lot of people, isn't it? And everything that evolves around the football club. And when you can't come in and you can't meet the players, and we can't go to the hospitals, you've got to think of other things. I think Joe was quite pleased. I'm going to sign some calendars and things like that, what people can buy online, just to get an autograph and anything we can do at this time, we've got to try and do it. The lads, they're all keen. They're all keen to help whatever they can.
You said earlier on, Neil, that Dale Fry and Paddy McNair are towards the end of the line. Are you going to have to pull them out and rest them?
No, I can't. We haven't got anybody else. I just told them how to be careful at times. Probably, I know it sounds silly to say do enough, but don't overdo it when you don't have to, because we've got to get them through 2 games. Paddy's got to get through tomorrow without getting booked as well, or he'll miss Saturday's game. So we really need both of them to be responsible and hope that Dick Steele comes through. I saw him yesterday. He felt okay yesterday, so I'm hoping today when we're on the pitch that he's okay. It's just the number of minutes that these lads have done. Like I say, it's every club's the same. I would imagine. It's just that I think majority of clubs have got bigger squads than us, so we've just got to coax them through it. We were hoping that Woody would be back tomorrow, but I don't think we can. I think I think the 10th day is tomorrow, so you can't mess about. And nobody really knows, so we've said we've got to be careful then and go on the side of caution rather than put him on the bench. Are you with me?
Yeah, everyone else okay COVID wise?
Yeah, everybody. Yeah, there's no seems to be any. I've stressed to the players. You've only got to look at Woody. He goes to his girlfriend's and then he's got 14 days. Well, that's 4 games almost at this stage. So I've stressed to the lads how important it is that none of them do anything different in the next few weeks with Christmas coming up and the games we've got, because we just can't cater. I mean, imagine if that were Dale Fry or are you with me, or Paddy McNair? We wouldn't be able to cope at the minute with what's gone off. So they've really got to be extra careful.
How difficult is this whole situation been to manage, both professionally, and you touch on it there, and personally as well, because obviously you've had your own troubles with it over the last couple of months as well.
Yeah.
How difficult has this period been? I guess you've probably, even with the amount of games you've been having to play, I guess you've probably not seen as much as your families as you'd want to as well.
No, to be fair, Sharon's been up with William, and it has made a difference to me, because I think if I'd have been on my own, going back after defeats, etc., it becomes very depressing, I think, at times with the pandemic. You can't do anything. You can't go to a restaurant. You can't do this, that and the other. And at my age, it is hard work. It's hard work for a young man, let alone a man at my age. So you've just got to try and look after yourself. I try and have my workout as best I can after training to keep ticking over. But it's something that's never happened before, Keith. So we're all in it, we're all in this, really learning as we go along. And that's why I knew early doors that we'd have to be careful with injuries, because I knew the number of games and the amount of running that these players do. They're so, they're so tight on the fitness angle, it doesn't take much. And whilst you say we might have been fortunate, we've still lost, like last week before we got Dick Steele out and House and out. We've still lost two of the main players, so we've just got to be lucky, really, in the next few weeks, and then hopefully, I think things will buck up in January. I'm sure that we'll get 2 or 3 players in, and it'll look a lot better then for the running.
Last one from me. I know you mentioned it a couple of weeks ago about the concussion subs. You spoke very well on it back then. It looks as though that's going to get rubber stamped at IFAB tomorrow. You'll be pleased to hear that.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, all right, you might get a manager using it, in the next 5 years or what have you, but really, this is for life or death, isn't it? You look at the rugby lads that have come out in these last few weeks, and it's absolutely frightening for me when I look at I used to, when I was at Cardiff Blues trained alongside us, and I used to watch them training, and every day the lads in the scrum, running head on into those big sponge things, but the jolting that it must take, and we've got to look, and like some of them said, they don't even remember some of the training sessions. So it's something in football that is a must. We're not. I don't think it's cheating, because I think that just make sure that they're okay. Let them go off. Don't let doctors or physios be put under pressure by managers to say get him back on quick. It'll be all right. And get it. They've got to really make sure that they're okay. And I think 5 minutes is great, to somebody to come on, so they're not punished for it, and the lad can be sensibly looked at and assessed.
Thanks, Neil.
Cheers, Keith.
Thanks, Keith. Chris?
Morning, Neil.
Sorry, Chris, that's my first coffee.
No, you're fine. Fine. If you would need to have a brew, go for it. Just basically, what have you made of the job Nathan Jones has done since sort of heading back to Luton?
I bet he were glad to get back. It's not always greener, as he's found out, and very fortunate to get another opportunity to go back. They don't usually take them back, but I think it was the same with what's his name at Bournemouth?
Eddie Howe.
Eddie Howe, when he went up to Burnley. It was big things expected, and sometimes it just doesn't work out as a manager. And no matter what you do, you can't get out of it. And so, to get back to where you're good, that the players respect you, the fans will come back on side once you turn the club round. I think it's been a breath of fresh air for him. I'm sure. I don't think he'll be running off anywhere in particular again. I think he'll have learnt his lesson on that, and quite rightly so. I think, sometimes like I say, the grass is not always greener, and you've got to think where your bread's buttered.
It's interesting, isn't it, that you get some managers like Nathan and Eddie Howe who move on potentially or supposedly did bigger things, and it just doesn't quite work out for them. But then you get the likes of yourself, who has been at a number of clubs and made a success everywhere you've been. So,
yeah, I think early doors though. I remember turning Chelsea down. Are you with me? and that sort of at the time, I'm thinking, I don't think anybody else would have turned Chelsea down, only me, if I'm honest. I just, I didn't want to, the bloody traffic, when I went down twice, it was a nightmare. I thought, I'm not going to drive on this bloody M1 anymore like this. So it just didn't feel right for me. Are you with me? Whereas, when you look at it in the cold light of day, how can you turn Chelsea down from Notts County? I must have been bloody idiot. So you've just got, there are times where you probably get carried away. As I've said in the past, the only mistake I made was not going to Sunderland, really. That was the right club for me at the right time up here. But that didn't work out for, with Malcolm Crosby doing so well at the time. So you all get temptations. I think it's just, with myself, in the end, after the first few promotions, I've just been tainted with, I always call myself the Red Adair, but the young lads don't even remember who he is, Red Adair. But I just seem to be the one to put fires out, really, to try and keep teams up, and seems to be my forte. But I do enjoy it. I enjoy making fans happy, and the chairman and owners that I've worked for, I always say and enjoy it while I'm here, and I'll do my best. And I think that's what you've got to do in football. You've got to try and put smiles on people's faces. It's hard enough as it is, but I love to put smiles on people's faces, mate.
I know you were saying that perhaps you were going to give your book to some of the players. Do you think some of the younger managers would benefit from reading it?
I think they wouldn't be able to switch the computers off, pal, to read a book. and they'll be writing notes, won't they, in the pads? I'm sure, But not anyhow. Let's move on from that.
Yeah, of course. You were asked earlier about how vital it would be to get the area down into Tier 2 and to get fans back into the stadium. I suppose, to spin that on its head, how damaging would it be to your sort of form over Christmas if you weren't able to get the fans back to the home games?
Well, it's not. I mean, we just got used to it, haven't we? Now it's just such a shame. I think if it was lifted to level 2, is it tomorrow? I think it's tomorrow, isn't it? If it was lifted to level 2, you can imagine the excitement around the place when there's all right 2,000, but it's 2,000 more than before. But I don't think anybody's really optimistic, if I'm honest. I spoke to Steve and Neil at the club, and I don't think anybody's optimistic that it's going to change. I think I think they rushed the London back into it. I think that were politically because they wanted to get all the shops up and running and everything. But you could see with the numbers outside Harrods and in 2 or 3 of them places that there's going to be a reinfection because there were nobody giving a damn. And it's all right when you're a young person and you're out and about, you're not going to die, but you get people at my age and what have you, and you don't realise how critical it is, or it can be, and it's that responsibility that there's not there at the minute. And so I just hope. I mean, we have to do what's best for the area, without a shadow of a doubt, and we'll have to wait and see tomorrow what happens.
And just last question from me. I know you've said before there that you've told the players they need to be really careful because you need them over the Christmas fixture. Obviously, the government have said, that there will be this relaxation over the Christmas period so they can visit extended family and form bubbles. I mean, have you said anything to the players about that? Have you given them any advice or guidance?
No, we tried to get Dijon, the goalkeeper, we tried to get him back home for a few days, but it's virtually impossible with the quarantines and what there is to pick an area where he's gonna have 3 or 4 days at home and then not miss games. So, he's going to have to wait till the next international break. I felt sorry for him because you like to see your family. But I've got to stress again to the players and myself as well, we all want to see the families and we've got to just be so careful. It's not what it's passing it on. You don't, if you've only got to meet somebody else outside and it doesn't take long to pass this horrible thing on. So we just got to be extra careful, really, especially at that time, because, there will be symptoms. I mean, you can get it mixed up as well at the minute with flu. The flu will be coming in soon, I'm sure, when we get the cold days. So, the symptoms will be there, and we'll have to get players tested as soon as possible, really, with that, because, otherwise you're going to get symptoms of something else, and you're going to be told to quarantine, and it's not the COVID. So it's a hard job at the minute for the doctors. You know, we've got a great doctor here, Rob, and he's really into everything he can to help us through this period.
How does it work in terms of testing at the moment, Neil? Are you tested once a week, twice a week?
No, we're not tested now. I think next week we're tested before Christmas, and then I think it's January the 2nd or something like that. You know, I think before it was once a week, but we've been in the bubble and touch wood. Let me just touch wood a minute. You know, we've been quite responsible and it's been quite good up here. You know, the lads I think have been responsible, but it only takes one slip, you know, and then you come back in and you mix like Newcastle. You mix with the other lads, and before you know where you are, you've got 4 or 5 cases, and we can't be doing that.
I was going to say that should serve as a warning. You know what happened up the road.
Yeah.
To the likes of yourself and the players, because I mean, games postponed, training ground shut for I think it was 10 days.
Yeah, I know. I mean, it's and all credit to them. They come back and got a win as well, which must have been difficult with some of the lads still having symptoms. I know how long it took me to get back, and I'm sure some of them lads had problems with the fitness during that game. So all credit to Steve and his lads up there.